How do we treat these employees? Do we treat them differently? Do we allow star performers a little bit more latitude than maybe the ones who aren't accomplishing as much or aren't achieving as much success? And so my answer here would be, it depends. The first thing is, if it's misbehavior, if your star performers are mistreating people, if they are assholes, if they're acting unethically, if they are being rude to customers, I would say absolutely not. Maintain your standards of culture, of behavior, of expectations, of your values. Don't allow that, because star performers will sometimes know the leverage they have, and they are going to do whatever they do until you stop them. Right? And so I would say, if you are a company, if you are a leader and you're experiencing that, nip that in the bud. Create a plan. Your star performer, no matter what, is not indispensable, right? You can always find somebody else to do that work. You might have some hiccups. It might take a little bit longer to get them trained in. Maybe they won't do it as well at first. But allowing misbehavior, tolerating misbehavior from star performers sends a really bad message to the team. Same thing when you let your kid misbehave. Right? If you have a few kids and one of them keeps pushing the envelope and keeps trying to do things and you let that go, your other kids are going to say, ooh, let me see if I can get away with that too. And so when it comes to values, I would say that is a time to stand firm as much as possible. It's hard, it's difficult, and you might be worried, oh my gosh, what if, right? What if we fire that person for doing that? What will happen? And what I'll tell you is nothing will happen. It might be a little bit more difficult, but you will move on. Right? Mm-hmm. The repercussions of leaving someone in place with bad behavior can sometimes be worse.
Oh, so bad.
Right? However, what I would say is, if you have a star performer, the only time I would say when it's okay to treat your employees differently based on their star status or their performer status is would also be attributable to why they are a star performer. So for example, let's say you've got a team of 5 people and 3 of them are just awesome. They're on top of everything. They don't need any reminders. They're meeting their deadlines. They're getting stuff done. And then you've got the other 2 people who are kind of procrastinating. They're lagging. They're sometimes pushing off the things that are hard for them. So you might hold those procrastinators to different standards than the star performers. Now, they might say, why are you treating them differently? Why do I need to do a report and they don't have to do a report? Or why do they get these assignments and I don't get these assignments? And if you can tie it to their performance and you can explain, hey, these are the gaps. This is why you are not at star performer status yet. This is how you can get there if you want to. Then that makes it completely different. That's not being unfair. That's not playing favorites. That's tying your treatment to them based on the cues that you're getting and the success that you're having. So somebody who keeps forgetting stuff will need more reminders than somebody who doesn't, right? Somebody who is constantly and consistently achieving their results may be given first dibs at a special project because they've proven those results. And so I would say everyone should know where they stand. Right? And so if there's one takeaway that I would ask you to bring along with you from this is, if your employees are star performers or some of them are not, make sure they know, and make sure they know what it takes to switch their status if they so choose. And if they're like, hey, you know what? I really want to be a steady Eddie. Like, this is what I can give to my job now. I'm probably not going to be exceeding or pushing or trying to get a promotion. Have that conversation so everyone knows where they stand, right? And then you can assign that work accordingly. You won't stress them out by having ideas on their behalf that they may not have on their own. Like, have you ever met, Patrick, a leader who believes that someone on their team has so much potential and keeps trying to push them to take on additional work, to take stretch assignments, to apply for promotions? And the person keeps saying, no thanks. I don't really want this. Actually not. And then you have the leader just keep at it like, no, you should. And it would be so great for you. And sometimes I feel like leaders need to know when to let go. And maybe it's just a moment in time. Maybe they're going through something, but maybe sometimes we have ideas for people that they don't share for themselves. And so those are my hot takes on this topic.
And all good ones. I've been the leader that has pushed people to do something. And because they didn't want to let me down or look off in my eyes, they took on something they shouldn't have. And I'm going to be as melodramatic as saying I've ruined careers, but I've ruined relationships. Because there was a time in my career that I thought anyone could do anything. Versus, did they want to do anything?
Yes.
Like, I came at it from a perspective of, set your mind to it. Anything's possible. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but I do that with pain too. Out of sight, out of mind. Put it out of your mind. You can do it. And, you can make up in your head where that comes from with me, but that isn't true. Like, to your point, like, it's okay for people to say, no, I want to be a block builder. I don't want to be the owner of the building. Or I want to be a brick mason. I'm making up the things here, but the world revolves around all types of personalities and skill sets and current needs. Like you mentioned when you were a young mom and you had a lot of things going on. Like, you were brave enough or courageous enough, well-rounded enough, self-aware enough to know that. You didn't get sucked into a vortex that hurt your children, hurt your marriage, hurt you, or hurt the company. You said, no, this is what I want to do right now. And I wish I was wiser. For the listeners, you guys have heard me say my first 10 years was rough. And I made a lot of mistakes by thinking everyone was the same. Not everyone wants to do the 500 jumping jacks every day. They have other things going on in their life. And I was so blinded, call it by my own ambition or desire to keep climbing the next hill, that I thought everyone wanted to climb the hill. What do you mean? Like, the hill's fun to climb, not for everybody.
Yeah.
And I didn't do it. I did a lot of people a disservice by thinking that way, leading that way. I still have to I still have to remind myself of that. Like, I have to remind myself of that. Not everybody's built for the climb.
Yeah. But I want to challenge you.
Go ahead.
I want to challenge you on this one because probably, of course, that happened in some cases, but also in other cases, maybe somebody saw potential that they didn't see in themselves and they were able to scale way higher heights than they imagined because you saw that in them. And so
there's always two sides to a coin.
No, of course. But what we see a lot, and I want to make sure I call this out because so often you see this, especially with women and people from historically marginalized communities where, manager will say, well, I posted the senior supervisor role and, nobody else applied. So I guess they're not interested. And there is a situation, and there are plenty times where somebody might need a little bit of extra encouragement. They might need a tap on the shoulder, right? But again, it's where do you stop? When they say, no, I do not want this, right? When do you know when to let go?
Yeah, let me jump back in and say, that's the part I wasn't doing. I didn't know when to stop. Everything for me was like 102 miles an hour. There was no third gear, just fifth. And that put people in a bad spot because the people who loved fifth gear, I thought everyone was like them. And then the others who wanted to be in third gear, and I'm pushing them into fifth because of, call it peer pressure or whatever you want to call it, office culture, they kept trying to keep up and it wasn't healthy for them. And I was blind to it. That's what I was talking about. But yes, there are many people in my past who have told me, which I really appreciate, the brave souls that say these things to me, that call and say, Patrick, man, if you didn't push me for this, or if you didn't say that, or you didn't expect that, or that hard conversation we had, or I didn't think I could do that job, but you kept telling me I could, and I did. Now I love it, and I've done these other 14 things. There's a balance, Rachel.
Yes,
like I got both
always.
sides of it. I was painting the picture of my first 10 years where I only saw one side of the coin. And I just pushed everybody to fifth gear, even if they couldn't do it or didn't have the courage to tell me, no, Patrick, I can't do fifth gear. I want to do third gear. And to be smart enough in my last 15 years to know, I need a bunch of third gear types.